Bringing freedom to the G.I. Joe force. Here's your look at the new Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Spirit Iron Knife. The Spirit Iron Knife figure comes ready for action with multiple points of articulation for high posability and 8 character-inspired accessories. And with custom artwork by Jeffrey Verridge, the G.I. Joe Classified Series Spirit Iron Knife package will make a mark on shelves. Before getting the review started for Spirit Iron Knife, I'd like to send out a big thank you to the folks over at Hasbro. You will be seeing as of late a lot of G.I. Joe Classified Series videos coming up onto this channel, and again a big thank you to them for providing the samples that you're about to see. Like Spirit Iron Knife here, for example, which we're going to go ahead and take the tape measure just to see how tall the figure stands. Taking it right to the very top of his head, Spirit seems to stand at 6 inches in height, or the figure's just a little over 14 centimeters tall. We did do one G.I. Joe Classified Series review prior to looking at Spirit here, so we're actually going to slide the figure over right now and bring in the previously looked at Crocmaster. Now you can already see that Crocmaster is taller than Spirit Iron Knife. The thing I like about the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series is that they're not keeping to the same mold or sizing of these figures. You're going to have in some of the cases with the G.I. Joe and Cobra teams, characters that are going to be taller or shorter than one another. In a case like this, I would want to have Crocmaster being taller than Spirit. I'm glad to see that they are using different molds appropriately for what characters should be bigger and other characters that should be, I guess, more average sized. If Hasbro ever does release a Spirit figure like they have done here with the Classified Series release, the one crucial accessory that has to come include with Spirit is, of course, his friendly little eagle friend Freedom, which right now I've actually got him standing up. He's not the easiest thing to stand, mind you. I find it actually helps if you take the wings and bring them forward like this, and he ends up actually supporting a lot of the weight on those wings. It helps to prevent the figure from falling over. These wings, by the way, can be removed. You can detach them by ball joints, and you can replace them instead with the fanned-out wings. I do like the fact that they actually did give you 2 ways of displaying freedom. Part of me, though, does wish that they could have included a secondary head sculpt, though, and while I do like this one, it does have the beak closed and nicely painted eyes. If you are going to be giving him fanned-out wings, I think they could have also included a secondary head that actually had the eagle shrieking, with its mouth open. Still, though, it does have posability, and I have to appreciate the fact that they did take the time to at least put a ball joint in the head of Freedom. And technically, as it is right now, with its wings folded in like this, there is posability, so you can kind of bring them out just a little bit by that ball joint. And there's posability also down below in the legs. You can hinge those back and forth as well. Technically, you can also have the eagle giving Spirit a hug. Anybody gets that reference? What you can also do, too, as mentioned already, is you can take the wings and pop them off via those ball joints. Quite large ball joints, too, so I don't have any worries that those are going to be breaking at all. And then you get these fanned-out versions of Freedom's wings. Making sure, of course, I've got them going the right way. You just plug them right in, snap them into place, and do the exact same thing on the other side as well. Being that they are using, of course, ball joints, it does make for a little more of an obvious gap space between where the wings are. You kind of have to, I guess you could bring them in just a little bit like this. And it doesn't look as bad. The further out that you have the wings, a little bit more disjointed they may look, and you have these gaps now forming in between the wings and the body. Still, though, I love the fact that they included Freedom with posability, because really, if you look at the original Spirit figure, Freedom was just a staction figure. A lot of the animal companions were always just staction pieces of plastic. They didn't have any posability to speak of. So I like to see that they actually did do something here with Freedom. As I said, there are places that you can attach it. On the bottom of its talons, anytime I get the chance to say talons in a review, there's these little plug peg points. You can actually take it, and on his arm, without actually putting any other accessory on Spirit, there are these 2 peg holes right here. You can take Freedom, and you can attach them via those pegs on the bottoms of his talon feet, and you just plug them into place. Plug them into both of the spots. And then he does have his eagle. The thing about it, though, is you really do have to firmly attach those pegs. If you just have them loosey-goosey and not completely in, even though we're not really talking about gooses in this case, if you have them just partially in, Freedom's more known to falling off. And it does also add a little bit more front heaviness to the figure. I would, in a case like this, probably have the figure displayed with a display stand, just because the weight of Freedom in the front of him is going to make him a little bit, like I said, more front heavy. There's one other place, of course, that you can also attach Freedom. I say, of course, assuming that you guys already know this, but Spirit does come included with his backpack. A nicely molded backpack, not hollow at all on the inside of it. I like to see that these backpacks are now actually getting some really dense plastic being used for them. There are some peg points on the sides. Well, one right there at least. That's going to attach onto the rifle, which you can actually just take the rifle and attach onto the side like that. But we'll get into that in a second. On the top, there is actually a perch where you can take Talon's feet. You can take Spirit's feet, Freedom's feet. Let's get that right. Freedom's feet. You can just attach them onto them. Now, again, you have to kind of line everything up and push it far enough in that Spirit's going to stay onto the perch. I'm even looking at that right now and realizing I probably could have even pushed them in a little bit further than what I have. But yeah, then you can also just take that and attach it onto the back of Spirit's body. I'm going to apologize well in advance because I'm probably going to have the names mixed up several times. Anyways, that's what Spirit looks like with Freedom perched on the back of his backpack. Again, really fun the fact that they would have actually done that. Again, they really could have just used a fully molded eagle and called it a day, but they didn't do that. They had these little posable wings. I like that. I do really like that. Let's go ahead and take Freedom down, at least for the time being. We're going to go ahead and put him off to the side. Other accessories to come included with Spirit. You do get yourself two versions of knife. One is more of a hunting knife, all molded here in black plastic. Unfortunately, it doesn't get any bit of paint, so it's just all molded black plastic. And then a secondary one that actually gets a little bit more attention. It sort of has almost like a snakeskin print along the top and slightly a different color of silver down below. And it also has, if you can see it right on the top here, it almost looks like the skull of an eagle. It may not even be an eagle. It could be something else as well. But it'd be rather interesting if it's also a skull of an eagle. I wonder if Freedom thinks to himself, I better keep myself in line because that could be what ends up happening to me. Now you can take these knives. And there are slots on the figure. We're going to go ahead and just move his arms out of the way here. There is a scabbard here located on the front, and then further down, right there onto the side, there's a slightly larger one. You can't take the black knife, for example, and fit this in place. It just sticks out way too far. You have to take that one and actually fit that one onto the side of his leg, and that slides into place. You can take then the silver knife. And again, in both the cases, too, you can also have them holding these knives, too. Nobody's committing you to the idea that you have to holster them right away. But at least there's places to store this if you aren't looking to put it in the figure's hands. The other thing the figure comes included with is a pistol. And similar to the hunting knife, it's just all molded here in black plastic. I do wish, part of me does wish that they could have actually painted the handle or added a brushing of silver or something to it instead of just relying on the molding of the black plastic. But there at least is a holster on the side of his other leg. So knife on this side, holstered pistol on the other, and that just slides into place. The last thing the figure comes included with is his rifle. I believe this is a Remington 700 sniper rifle. And this does just fit into his hand. I think the original figure also had a similar type of rifle. And like I said, it does fit into his hand. Or what you can also do, too, is you can take the Remington and it plugs just onto the back. I know, we've already looked at this. That just slots onto the place as well. And the thing I really like about the Classified Series figures is that really in all the cases, or many of the cases at least, all the accessories that come included with the figure can be housed on the figure, whether it be on the actual suit itself, whether it be on the backpack, or also in the case here of Freedom. At least there's a place where you can plug it onto the side of his arm, or you can plug it onto the top of his backpack. Getting a closer look, though, at Freedom, I'm just going to Spirit, there we go, I did it again. Just taking his backpack off here for a second so we can actually get a closer look at his face. Though he does seem a little old, to be fair, really, the original Real American Hero Spirit was slightly older in the face. We are also going to be looking at, by the way, FYI, giving you a heads up, we're going to be looking at his nemesis, Storm Shadow, in an upcoming review. Though many would say Snake Eyes is his bitter rival if you really watch the cartoon, the original 80s series, Spirit and Storm Shadow were always at odds with one another. But I do like the head sculpt. I think not only is it well sculpted, but it's equally well painted. He does have the braided hair there on the front, a little bit of hair off to the side here. He does have the bright red bandana as well. I think the paint is really handled well here, especially on the eyes and the eyebrows. It's a really good head sculpt for a modernized take of Spirit. And yet, I hate to be that guy that sounds like I'm stuck in the 80s, but I have to say I'm really appreciative of the fact that when it comes to the Classified Series, we're sort of going back to the basics of what these characters look like. A blue rolled-up sleeve shirt and sort of the khaki pants was always the always the way that Spirit was designed originally in the cartoon and the toy line that followed afterwards. And I'm glad to see really that they followed suit with that when it came to the designing of him for classified series. Yes, they could have modernized the look of Spirit, but sort of in the way of what they're doing also with the Transformers. I'm glad they're sort of sticking to the Generation 1 or G1 look for the G.I. Joe characters as well. He does have the little logo there on the side of his shoulder, and an equally a different one slightly off to the side here with the hammer and feather. Nice to see that they also included that as well. The thing about his arms, though, I want to just quickly point out the fact that it seems like his arms are using a different type of plastic here, or what they've likely done here for the part that's rolled up sleeve is that they've actually gone and painted the skin tone. So there's a bit of a disconnection here, where this is definitely a more lighter color, and clearly looks like it's just plastic being used here, and they probably then just painted the top of the glove. And then here, it actually looks like they probably have painted the blue plastic, where, of course, the two colors of skin tone aren't quite matching one another. Other than that, though, it's a really nice looking figure. He does have the strap across his front torso. He does have a little grenade and smoke grenade, neither of which can be removed. He does have his belt, of course, two different types of belt, with a nice, decent looking belt buckle there in the front. Several different pockets and stuff that he could be storing stuff in. A couple of pockets there on the back with some additional clips that he can use for his pistol, unfortunately not painted. And he's got an extra pocket there on the back there also as well. Just a really nice sculpted figure. Even the pants themselves are nicely handled with the way they've wrinkled the pants. There are some places where I feel like there could have added some paint, but overall just a really, really nice looking Spirit. Let's have a look at the articulation here on the figure. Head is on a ball joint, so yes, it can rotate all the way around. Despite for the fact he does have his pigtails, yeah, you can still hinge the head down. You have it looking up quite a lot, actually. Trying to figure out where Freedom ended up. Maybe he's up in the tree somewhere. You can have their head rocking back and forth this way. You can also take the arms. You can bring those out at a comfortable 90-degree angle bend. This one arm I've noticed is a little tighter than this arm here. But if you have it loose enough, probably loose is not the best way to describe these joints, but if you have them at least limbered enough, you can easily bring them out at 90 degrees. You can take the arms and rotate them all the way around. There is a bicep swivel just above the top of the rolled up sleeve. There is a double hinge on the elbow, and as well, there's also rotation in the hand. You can hinge that back and forth. All of these classified series figures also seem to have a crunch on the front of his torso. Because, of course, this is also a strap piece that they've added over top of the plastic torso, it means also that when you're moving the torso back and forth on that crunch, it doesn't seem like the strap feels like it's tight or being tugged. You can rotate the waist also as well here in Spirit. You can take the legs and hinge them out, although this one leg, once you get really the knife in place, it obviously is always going to be kind of hitting the belt. You kind of just bring it forward. So when you are really bring the legs, also you can drop these legs down, but if you bring the leg, you can kind of just tuck that in to allow him to get a splits. And you can also move this up and down as well, being that it's a separate piece that they've attached to the leg. All of these legs always are known for dropping down. I guess the whole idea is that you can bring the legs down and bring them forward if you want to have them more in a sitting position. And then you just go ahead and just take the legs and pop them back into place. It's super, super easy. Swivel at the top of the thigh, about 3/4 of the way up the thigh, there's a swivel cut. Figure does have a double hinge on the knee. The figure as well has a swivel in the boots with an ankle pivot that allows the feet to go up and down this way, and an ankle rocker that allows the feet to go this way as well. I do like the look of Spirit. You know, they could have redesigned the character. They seem to start doing that, I think, with the early first wave or so of the classified series figures. They kind of redesigned slightly Duke, redesigned slightly Scarlet. But I'm kind of glad, in a way, that they've gone back to sort of their classic designs. Because after all, I think, if anything, if they're gearing this line, say, towards kids will either like G.I. Joe or they won't like G.I. Joe. But it's really the true diehard collectors that I think are still going back time and time again to get these classified series figures. I think what us collectors, the slightly older collectors like myself, enjoy about this line is that they still look like their classic Real American Hero days, just a little bit bigger and a whole lot more articulation. A pretty perfect Spirit, if you ask me. I don't think there's anything I really would have changed the Spirit necessarily. If anything, I would just have added an extra head sculpt for Freedom. We have to appreciate the fact that at least Hasbro did give us a somewhat fully posable Freedom to be displayed along with Spirit. One of which that you can actually have the wings detached. So if you wanted to have, instead of the wings tucked in and folded in or giving a side hug to Spirit, you can instead have the wings fanned out. I would have maybe taken that one step further, and for the amount of plastic it would have taken to produce a secondary head sculpt for Freedom, why not? Throw an extra head sculpt in there that had the shrieking mouth open. I think it would have gone paired nicely with Freedom's wings being out like this. Now, I know me as a reviewer looking at figures like this, it at times may sound like I'm a bit stuck in the past, because at this point in time, The classified series of G.I. Joe figures could have been anything. Hasbro could have reinvented the wheel, redesigned these characters so they looked completely different from their classic real American hero days. But I have to think as well, like, even though there are kids still picking up, still interested in G.I. Joe figures, a lot of the majority, and what I've already said in this review, a lot of the majority of people going and buying these figures, tracking these figures down, are older collectors like myself. We are the ones that watched the original 80s cartoon. We are the ones that grew up collecting the original 3 3/4-inch O-ring G.I. Joe figures. Why not? Why not just increase the size of those same designed look characters and just add some additional articulation? And that's really what they've been doing lately. Most of the classified series figures that Hasbro have been putting out are just oversized versions with better looking sculpting and much better articulation. And I'm all for that. There is a chance for them to always redesign these characters. But if it works by keeping them in their classic look, I say, why change it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Spirit definitely isn't broken at all. He looks like he did from the original cartoon, just with a whole lot more better articulation and a better looking sculpt. Really nice work on Spirit from the folks over at Hasbro. What do you guys think of this figure? Let me know down below in the comment section, and maybe let me know as well down below. In a case like G.I. Joe, do you think they have to redesign the looks of these characters when it comes to releasing them as figures? Or do you like the idea that they're keeping them to their classic designs? Let me know down below in the comment section. A big thank you, though, to the folks over at Hasbro that did provide the sample of both Spirit Iron Knife and Freedom. Well, of course, they came together, so we're going to thank them at least for both. If you guys are interested and you are new to this channel, you're enjoying the content that you're seeing, and you haven't already done so, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, that you're turning on the bell notification, and that you're coming back regularly, because while we have wrapped up the review, at least of this G.I. Joe Classified Series figure, there will be more coming soon to this channel, very, very soon, in fact. So make sure, you're coming back here on a regular basis. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.